Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video we're going to be making a card using the Uniquely Creative Bee Hoppy mini kit, but it's not necessarily an Easter card. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so we're going to start this card off with the largest of these Slimline stitched nesting rectangles from Uniquely Creative. You guys know I love these, and we're going to do some ink blending. So I'm going to grab 3 of my blues. We're going to have Chip Sapphire, which is going to be most of the way around it, prize ribbon, and then a little bit of broken china. And I'm just going to use my Tailored Expressions blending brushes with these. You can see there I'm using my star wreath. This is also from Uniquely Creative, and it's going to be the focal point on my card. So I'm putting the lightest bit behind the middle of that, and then I'm pulling out the darkness from there. So you can see I keep checking to make sure that it's sort of in the right spot. Then I'll come in with prize ribbon and we'll blend those two together. So just going back and forth between my brushes, start with the dark one, bring in the light one, and vice versa until we get the blend I want. I'm then pulling in, putting a little bit of washi tape down to hold my sheet down, then it doesn't move, especially these really long card bases. They do tend to be a little bit tricky, so if I can stick them down I will. So a bit of tape there doesn't hurt either. Chip Sapphire all the way to the top. And we'll just blend that in, and you'll see in a second I'll come back in with that light brush and just pull it back. Keep blending until I'm happy with the result. And it's a back and forth, and sometimes it's a lot easier to keep them in each hand and just sort of go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then roll it around and we'll do the other side. Sometimes forget how hard blending is. When it's doing it in fast motion like this, it looks really easy, but it is a lot of work sometimes, especially when you're doing the whole panel. But it is honestly worth it. It looks awesome when I'm done. And you'll see here in a second, I'll bring that light blue in just one more time just to give it really a big, bold kind of finish. And then once we're done with that, I'm going to come in with my Distress Spray and just spray the background. This will pull up some of the colour and give us this cool kind of starry background. And then to emphasise that, I'm going to bring in my Gansai Tambi watercolour pigments. And I'm picking that one there, the second in from the right. It matches my glitter cardstock that I'm going to use in this card the best. I think it's called Light Gold, and it just gives me just an extra little bit of shine while I'm making this card. So then I'm going to bring in some more of that glitter cardstock. This cardstock is from Kmart. It is a really good glitter, and I'm just cutting out just around the wreath there so it's easier to send through the die cut machine. I'm just going to cut this out once, but I'm going to cut it with a little bit of double-sided adhesive sheet. And that way I don't need to worry about putting glue on this to put it all together in a little while. I can just put this first one straight down on the top, and it just becomes a little bit easier. So I'm going to also cut this out a couple of times through with some some black cardstock. I'm pretty sure this is Kaiser Craft. Just run it through. I think I did 2 or 3 different wreaths, and we're going to use that to stack it up and give us a bit of dimension behind this glitter wreath. So go, so only 2 times. And then I'm just putting that double-sided sticky sheet there, and then I can cut that out. So that way this one with the glitter is actually going to be a complete sticker and don't need to worry about putting any glue on. So once I've got them cut out, I just need to pop out all of the stars. I like using a pair of tweezers just to sort of help me push them out a little bit. These are really great for keeping for shakers, especially if you're using something other than black. But I'm just popping them out just one by one, being gentle not to tear or anything, and we can go ahead and stick them together. Oh no, before I get to sticking them together, the wreath with the glitter just didn't quite cut out nicely enough, so I'm just lodging it back in there. It's a really easy spot to find, and I'm just running it through the die cut machine just one more time just to try and get it to cut through. I do find that the glitter, especially when you've got the adhesive tape on it, doesn't always go through the best, but I will make it work, so it'll be fine. I just cut out another wreath here. I think I ruined one. I think that was why I had to do another. I'm pretty sure I only ended up with two behind there, but 2 or 3, it's whatever you sort of feel comfortable doing. So I'm just popping those out one more time. And then I'm coming in with my detail glue tube or glue bottle there and just putting glue all around there. I'm using liquid glue here so I have a little bit of time to be able to wiggle this around to get it to line up. And you see there, it's just easy enough. You just lay it down on top of each other and then just wiggle it until it's right. And then, yes, it is 2 layers. And then I'll come in with this sticker. This is a little bit more complicated, and if I'm in retrospect, it probably would have been just as easy to cut it out and just stick it on using the glue, because it actually ended up working really nicely. You learn things. Sometimes you just learn things. When it's an intricate die like this, sometimes I do seem to think it's easier to put it with an adhesive background, but honestly, I think glue would have been fine here. Especially when I sort of tore it a little bit and it got a bit tricky, and then I got to pop out all the little stars. The good thing is though, those little stars have all got sticky on the back of them now, so they worked, and you'll see me use them a little bit later. They worked really nicely when I got there. So you can see I've already popped them all out there, and we're going to start putting this down onto the card base. So right there in the middle. And then I decided I needed a little bit of black. I know I've already put all the paint down and stuff, but it just needed to be darkened up a little bit on the edges. So just a little bit of black soot there. And this is where we're going to pull out this absolutely adorable little stamp set. I'm just going to grab the little rabbit and my ink, and I just need just that one little image. And we're just going to colour him in using some Copic markers. So I'm pretty sure I used my E44s. Yes, I did. I really like them for critters. They just give a really kind of pared back. They remind me of like an old teddy bear. That's sort of where I'm going here. And I'm just sort of using the darker around the shadow, around where I think a shadow would be, and then just pulling it out into the light. Nothing fancy, just sort of the way that I like to colour. Very simple sort of 3 marker blend, nothing too hard. And then just grabbing a little bit of the E40, which is really, really light, just to do his belly and his tail, just so that they have got a little bit of colour, and then a little bit of R11 for his ears and his cheeks. And then of course I have to colour in his nose. I did go with a little bit of black glaze pen. I'm funny with this. Sometimes I'll add it and sometimes I won't. But today I thought it would look really cute, especially because we've got kind of magic happening here. And then of course I needed to do my white jelly highlights. So then we're going to pull in a little bit of this matte metallic, I guess is the right kind of word. It's the same kind of colour as the glitter, but it's just got a matte finish instead of the glitter finish. And I'm going to I'm going to spell out the word magic. This is using the uppercase outline alpha die. It's a big one, but I love how it brings out the letters, and you'll get the outline here and you'll also get the inners. So you can use either or both. I really like just using the inner bit, but the outline is adorable. So I'll make sure I save that and I can use it on something else. So just popping them all out. A pair of tweezers always helps. Alright, so now we're going to cut out this cute little rabbit. So we're going to grab out my die cut machine again and just run him through. Really simple, this one. So we've popped him out. I also need a little bit of sparkle here. So I'm grabbing my Uniquely Creative Gold Glitter Sparkle Pen and just giving the whole background just a bit of a tap with that, just so that it's got a little bit more glitter. And then just because I don't want to wait now, I'm going to use my heat tool just to give this a bit of a dry off. And then also, you can always just pat it dry, which is what I did there. And we're going to stick our star wreath and our little rabbit, and we're going to work out where all our letters go. So I like to line it up on my glass mat, and then I can make it straight. I can run it along my lines, and then a little bit of tape picks it all up, and I can sort of work out where I want to put it. So I kind of not ran out of room, but I kind of didn't anticipate how wide this would be, and I needed a bit more room. So that's why my wreath ended up going sort of up off the card. So I'm going to stick that down again just with liquid glue, and using liquid glue so I have a little bit of time to wiggle it again. I do love how good that looks in fast motion. It's so not that simple when you've got it sitting in front of you, but in fast motion it looks awesome. So I've stuck my rabbit down just with a little bit of glue tape, and then we're just going to put the wreath down on top. So it looks like the wreath is kind of coming out from the rabbit, and that's where you can see at the top there. It's just got a little bit of overhang, and that's okay. It's not a big problem. So now I'm trying to find where I'm going to put that magic, and I think I need to spread it out. So I'm going to lay it down on the card, and then we'll put the tape on top and we'll work it out that way. So I'm just spreading it out, making it look even, or as even as I possibly can. And then just going to stick it down that way. Because I'm using basically the stitching line at the bottom to be able to keep it straight, it's a little bit easier, whereas if I was just randomly putting it somewhere, it wouldn't quite work. Now I was just losing a little bit of the glitter there. It was coming off the cardstock, so just a little bit of liquid glue will solve that. I'm just using that to hold it still while I grab something to just sort of stick it down. The liquid glue doesn't adhere quite as nicely to the glitter as it does to the rest of the cardstock, so I'm just going to leave a weight on that just to hold it still. And I'm going to really quickly run this wreath through just a little bit of extra of that glitter cardstock, because I'm going to use the stars in the middle to kind of decorate the back of my panel. So this time I'm not aiming for the wreath, I'm aiming just for the stars in the middle. And this die is fantastic for that. If you are someone that likes to make shakers, this wreath will help you out all the time. It gives the cutest little stars. So just popping them out. A pair of tweezers will always help. And we can finish putting the letters on, and then we can start decorating the stars in the background. Lost a little bit more there. That's just the glitter coming up off the cardstock, and that's absolutely fine. I can just stick a little bit of glue there and you'd never know. I love the difference there between the glitter and the plain metallic. It just looks really cool. So then we're just going to grab a pair of scissors and just trim off that little bit on the top. Like I said, in retrospect, I probably should have made this card a little bit wider instead of making it a slimline, but you still get the main idea of it, and I think it still looks cool. It was just, yeah, I didn't quite anticipate how tall it would be, but I do still love it. And then I'm just putting some of those stars all around, making sure it doesn't look too placed, doesn't look too abnormal. And as you can kind of see, using odd numbers always sort of makes it look a little bit more visually pleasing. So there's 5 on each side there, and just using my liquid glue to stick it down. I'm also using my gem picker wrapper, is that what it's called? Pick up stick, just to pick those up because it's a little bit easier. So then I decided that my little rabbit needed a wand, and I didn't have a star in this stamp set, so I grabbed out the Unicorn Magic stamp set from a couple of months ago, and I just stamped out this little star, and then I'm just colouring it in with a little bit of Copic markers with gold, and then rather than cutting it out with a die, I just hand cut around it and then drew in, just using a fine liner, a little line so it kind of looks like a little wand. I put a little bit of foam tape behind it because I want it to sit up. I want it to have a little bit of dimension. And there you go. He looks so cute sitting there. And I'm just trying to decide if I wanted to put like a little glitter star, but I decided just to use that glitter pen, and that did the job. So then for the sentiment, I'm going to go back to that Unicorn Magic stamp set, and I'm going to grab this stamp that just says "Every day holds new." It actually says it holds new magic. I'm just going to cut the magic off. So I'm just using my Rabbit Hole Design cottontail embossing tool just to put some powder on it, sticking it down or stamping it out with some sticky ink, and just using some of my, I'm trying to decide whether I want to, which of my gold embossing powders I want to use. I've got one there that's like a glitter one, and I've got one there that's just a normal one. I think the glitter one's the ones I ended up going with. And then I'm just going to cut it out using my trimmer, just trying to keep it straight. So as close as I possibly can, just so I have a strip. Just on a bit of black cardstock always helps too. Gives it a bit of extra something. And then I'm just going to stick that down straight across the magic. I don't usually use sentiment strips quite like this. I tend to use them sitting above or below, but I really liked the way it just sort of sat there over the A. So that was why I decided to do it there, or the M and the A, sorry. So that's why I decided to put it there, and I'm not worried that I lost that magic part. So there we go. That is the finished card. I do really, really like this. Oh, hold on. No, needed to do something else. So then just as a last little embellishment, I grabbed out one of my Sakura gold glitter pens. I'm just adding a little bit of magic coming out from that wand, just so it looks like that's where the stars are kind of coming from. Just a little bit of shooting from the middle of that star, and I think that just makes all the difference. And I really, really, really love that little wand on my rabbit. So there you have it. That is my card using the Bee Hoppy mini kit from Uniquely Creative. I just wanted to show you a way that you could use this card without it having to be necessarily an Easter card. These bunnies are way too cute to leave sitting in a collection until next Easter. So this is a cool way that you can use it in a different kind of way. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a big old thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also check me out on all of my socials for lots of extra card making goodness. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic Easter. Whatever you get up to, please stay safe and please try and have a break, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!